In looking at some of our cases, actually a lot of our caseload, a lot of our cases are termination cases. A lot of our retaliation cases are just straight up, the employee complained and then they were terminated. But not all of our cases. Just because you've been retaliated against, but you're still working there, doesn't mean you don't necessarily have a claim. The fact that an employee is retaliated against but isn't terminated doesn't mean that the employee can't bring a claim. You know, sometimes you look at, were you passed over for promotion? Were you demoted? Were you suspended? Were you given an evaluation that's going to prevent you from promoting in the future? And so whether or not you suffered the ultimate sort of retaliation or termination, it's important to understand that if you've engaged in conduct and you've been retaliated against, you still might have a claim. This is especially true for employees that are subject to unlawful harassment based off discrimination, based off disability, race, or gender, sexual orientation. Sometimes we'll take a case in which the employee never lost a day of work, never was demoted, never was passed over. But instead, they had to be subjected to hostile work environment that included conduct based off of a protected class, racist name-calling, repeated requests for sex, repeated exposure to sexually explicit issues. Those type of claims will lead to what's called a hostile work environment. So the area of employment law is complex as to what ultimately will permit you to bring a lawsuit. Is a pretty fact-intensive question as to whether or not you've been subject to what's called an adverse employment action, or you've been subject to a hostile work environment. If you're being subjected to issues at work that you believe are unlawful, feel free to reach out to a law firm. It's important for you to understand that there are firms out there that can help you. I encourage you to talk to a firm that just does employment law and specializes in employment law. If that's our firm, I'd be more than happy to discuss with you any issues that you're currently experiencing at work. If you're a former employee and you want to know your rights as to what happened to you at work, but it wasn't necessarily a termination, give us a call. Whatever reason, we're here to help and answer your questions. Thanks.